Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the Sanyo MBC-550 series computer that came out in 1983 with an 8088 processor, meaning it was 8 bits. It was my first computer as a child that I learned to program on. And over the years I kept all my software, but I have no way to get it back on the original computer because I gave away my original computer years ago. So recently I bought one off of eBay and it's in working condition, fortunately. However, I have no way of getting my software back on it because my software was saved on 3.5-inch floppy disk and then over to my cloud and everything else currently. So today I'm going to show you how to add a Gotek drive into the computer. Okay, so obviously the first thing you need to get this working is you need the Gotek drive. And you also need a USB to USB cable, which is what I use to set it up. There's different ways to actually program it, but the easiest way I found was just to go out and buy USB to USB. You can buy them anywhere, pretty much eBay, Amazon. They're pretty cheap. And obviously, you'll see my Gotek here, and you have the little jumper wire. And so I just basically jumpered it. The good thing is there's quite a bit of documentation out there on how to set this up. So if I go to the Gotek drive link here, the person's name, Kurov, is basically behind this whole project, and it's the Gotek is the actual hardware, but he actually has what's called flash floppy software that you install on it. And he's got a great website here. He's did an amazing job, especially for the retro community, what he's done. But you can see here that he goes over the different Gotek drives and tells you the ones to buy, the ones to avoid, and everything else. And the one that I bought was actually this one here, but you know, anyone can do. I'm not really promoting any of them, but you can see that you can go out and buy one, but you just basically want to make sure the one that you buy is in the recommended list here. From there, you will basically want to go through and set it up, and this is kind of a little bit tricky, but not too bad. The first thing is you have the download flash floppy, and this is actually the code that will need to be installed on the Gotek. And so you download that first, and then you come in and program it. He's got another link here on how to program it. And he goes over all the information, and he goes over the different types and everything. And so the first thing you need is the actual software to download, and that's actually on this site here. And if I click on it, within here he has you go into resources, down to tools, and then this is the in-system programming tool. It's got the little download, but it's also got a PDF on how to use it and everything. It's a little bit awkward at first to use, but you get the hang of it. He's got great information out there. Go back a couple on how to use it, and you can see there's the jumper, the software that you actually load. So you hook up your USB to USB to the computer, you jumper it, and then you go through and you could see here where it'll identify the USB. And then right here is where you would load your flash floppy hex code. And then afterwards, you're basically going to install it. You may actually have to at first enable disable protection, so it'll actually read it. And then here he's got the two files. This is the flash floppy that I was talking about. And you can go through and you basically just program it. Once it's done, you could take the little jumper wire off the back, unplug it, and now it should say F-F on the front of the screen when you set it up. Okay, additional things you'll need for the Gotek is actually just an adapter because the Sanyo has the 5.25-inch floppy drive, which has more of the edge connector. And so you'll need to get the edge connector to the 34 pin so you can plug into the back of the Gotek. You can find both of these items anywhere on eBay or other websites out there. So the edge connector will actually plug into the ribbon cable in the Sanyo when you unplug one of the drives. And I'm going to select the first drive in the Sanyo so I can actually have it boot right from the Gotek. The next thing you need to do is you need to power the Gotek. So in the Sanyo computer, they actually have the bigger connection, as you can see here, and they have different voltages going into it. The Gotek is going to use 5 volts. So you want to pin out the actual cable that you want to plug into the bigger side here from the Sanyo. I believe this is a Molex connector. And you want to make sure that you got the 5 volts, so you have 5 volt and the ground. The other 2 wires I recommend just cutting off, just so there's no potential of shorting out the Gotek or doing any other damage. And as you can see, the smaller side there, that would plug into the back of the Gotek, and your Gotek would have power when it was turned on. A couple quick other things to mention about getting the Gotek installed into the Sanyo. This is kind of trial and error a little bit, but I needed an extension cable for the 34 pin because I couldn't fit in the edge connector directly. So I also bought one of these. And then if you're going to use it as your primary first drive, you want to set the jumper in the Gotek to S0, as you can see in the picture over here to the right. And finally, before we get into actually opening up the computer and making this all happen, is you have to get software onto the Gotek that'll load on the Sanyo computer. Fortunately, there's a couple great websites that people put a lot of hard work into, and we're going to take a look at that real quick. The first is your Gotek needs this file, the ff.cfc file, and it has certain settings that the Gotek will read, so it'll interpret correctly and be able to interface with the Sanyo computer. Also, you can see at the bottom here, your files have to be named a certain way. So you can see there's the ff.cfg, which we'll take a look at that in a moment. But the files that the Gotek will read have to start with 0001, and so they have to be 4 digits followed by a dash and then any name you want. The different file extensions the Gotek will accept are like IMG for image, DSK, HFE, and there's probably a couple other formats out there. So in here, if we look at the first site here, a lot of great work done here by Rick Campagna, and apologies if I mispronounce the name, but he has a lot of great things in here. He basically outlines a lot of the work he's done. He even gets into doing his own version of the Gotek, which he did a great job on. And he's talking about running it in MAME, the different type of images that it can load. You can work with Python with it, assembly. And if you keep going down, he's got a part here for the ff.cfg file. And you can see here he has certain settings. Interface is SugarArt. Host is PC-DOS. And then the pins here, there are certain pins that are different on the Sanyo computer. So he has those set. It's great that he figured all this out. You know, I would have never gotten anywhere without this. And then he's got a couple other settings here. Up here, this is the SamDisk download. This will actually help convert the TD0 files. This is like the old Teledisk. I think it's like converts things to binary. And you need to convert it to a file that the Gotek can actually read and then load on the Sanyo. So he's actually got a software link here that you can download. And I ran it on my Mac, but it also runs on other machines as well. If we go back, the next website is Eris Creations. And he's got a lot of great stuff that he's actually been archiving. Things about the computer, different games and different graphics and just everything. This is just wonderful because without this, you wouldn't really be able to get different software on here. And you can see some of these files are in TD0. So if you want to try them, you have to convert them. He also asked if you do have any software for the Sanyo that you can actually send, that would be great because he's trying to archive this like a lot of people in the retro community. And so there's a lot of great things out on this website and actually both websites. So, hats off to these folks because without them, I wouldn't have been able to do this project.